Guitar Lesson 101 for Theory and Jazz. So I just want a disclaimer, missing a high E string, but I'm not going to let that get in the way. I'm going to treat this like a bass lesson. So I'm using the bottom 4 strings, E, A, D, G, for this, to consider it an intermediate advanced lesson. So if you are thinking about playing jazz on the bass or on any instrument improvisation, you want to start out with the circle of fifths, and to do that you need to know your letter names. So assuming you know all your letters on your neck, A, B, C, D, E, F, G are all good good things. So learn your letter name strings, E, A, D, G, E, and your hypothetical E. So E, A, D, G. So start with your low E, and then you're going to find your F, right as a warm-up, G, A, B. And a great way to figure this out if you're new to the guitar or the bass is to invest in some guitar books, method books. There's lots of great books out there. There's you just research guitar method books on Amazon or Google. You'll find one with a diagram on it, usually of the neck. It looks vertical, and they'll tell you all the letters on the neck, and then what you can do is just review it. And one of the things my teacher taught me growing up was learn all the notes on the neck. So if you say, like, find every A, you're gonna go A, A, A. See how they all sound the same? They're just different pitch. So A. They're called octaves. That's an octave away from each other. So you got your low pitch, your low A, and your middle A, your high A. And if you can get up here, A doesn't exist there, but yet. But so you got your A. So now you want to do every letter. You got 12 letters in the key, so you got 7 keys, 7 notes that are just pure notes. So you got your A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, 7, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7. And then between that you have your notes that are accidental. So you got B flat, D flat, E flat, G flat, A flat, back to B flat. So that's another 5. So 7 plus 5, you got 12 total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then once you get to the double dots, you start over. See how the octave starts over there? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Boom, start over. So if you didn't know, the double dots represent where you start over from your low strings. Right, that's your sound, open strings, and then your harmonics. Same thing, but a pitch octave up. So it just starts like a reset button, but at your double dots. So you got E, and then E. Kind of sounds like Jimi Hendrix. And Hendrix is big on jazz. He actually was probably from his father, probably from a time where jazz was very popular, so he influenced him in that way. But anyways, so we move on to certain exercises that I like to do. Ones that I love have to do with every key. So you want to start C usually, piano friendly, and you usually go in the cycle of fifths, which just means you're gonna go C, F, B flat, and it's a pattern. You're gonna see this pattern. C, F, B flat, and you'll hear it. E flat, hear that pattern, right? Hear that? How it sounds kind of like spacey. Very lateral. So it's a great way to learn jazz tunes because that's usually the major progression in jazz is what we call a 5-1. Most music, so from the key of C, you're going to start on G7, your 5 chord. So for those new to music theory, you're going to represent every note of a scale with a number. So your first note of your major scale is 1, or your Roman numeral 1. 2 is 2, so D is 2. E is 3, F 4, G is 5, A 6, B 7, and then back to C, your octave. So this is your traditional major key. Right, C major. Now you have 7 major modes, and there's thousands of scales, but the ones you want to learn first that are popularized in 90% of pop music and most jazz, and you want to know them for jazz too, are your major scales. So you got your major mode. You got your Dorian is your second mode. We're all just gonna do these in C. That's Dorian. Then you got Phrygian. Just kind of listen to the sound first. And then each scale has a chord that's assigned to it. So you have a major chord for your major, Dorian for your minor, Phrygian is minor, then Lydian is major. Go with the sharp 4. So you can even add this note in. It's called a tritone. Put it on a major chord, so it's got a more, they call hip, complex sound to it. So major 7 chord for your guitar players. This shape, and then your sharp 4 chord. You can replicate that here. It's more interesting sounding in my opinion. Anyway, you go there, you go there. Now you want to finish up the Ixolydian, dominant, and then Aeolian, and then Locrian. Half diminished. This is huge in jazz. Locrian. So the 3 main chords you want to learn in starting jazz usually is your Dorian chord, your minor 7, so your 2. You're going to go back to your 5 and your 1. So take it slow. We have our first scale tone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Back to C. So we take our 1 chord, a 2 chord, 3 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, 6 chord, 7 chord, and then back to our 1. This is called a chord row. So it's basically taking every scale tone and assigning its chord to it. So you're learning how to associate chords with notes of your scales. So when we move on, we want to be aware of the fact that theoretically, jazz is composed of what we call a 2-5-1. So if we're still in C, we go to the 2 chord, then we go to our 5 chord, and then we go to our 1 chord. Right? So it's literally your 2 note, your second note of the scale, your 5th note of the scale, and then your 1st note of the scale. So for your advanced players, hopefully you understand this concept. It's just going to reinforce what you already know. Intermediate, you want to either delve deeper to this on your own through theory books. So you got Mark Levine's Jazz Theory book's a great one. Jazz Theory Handbook by Paul Spitzer, or Thinking in Jazz by Paul F. Berliner. So those are all good ones. So you got your 2, your 5, 1 chord, right? So if you want to do a 3, 6, 2, 5, it looks like it's 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, right? And then a 1, 5, 1, 5, 1. Now in jazz, you usually color it up with 7ths. You notice the sound, it's got a 7th note. It's got a 7th. It's a lot prettier than just your traditional like rock chord, right? Power chord. That's your punk rock power chord. So now you punk rock. No, I'm not the best punk rock player, but you know, theoretically. With jazz, they sound more like. coloring up the chords. And behind that, the rhythm is what we call a swing. So now back to our theory. 2, 5, 1s. Now, great exercise to do is just to take those 2, 5, 1s and arpeggiate them, or to take out a pattern from each chord and do it consistently for each chord. So one pattern I do are triads. So you can do third, fifth, third, fifth, third, fifth. Now the challenge is to do this in every key, all 12 keys. So you can go. Now do it in F. Now B flat. First time I've ever done this. It's not new. So if you want to start basic, start with one chord, one tonality. I usually do major, and since I'm a bass player as well, I do triads. Alright, A string, D string, back to A. So you want to do some major triad. You even do on your low E. Your Paul McCartney fans. Take ideas from this, take notes, inspire yourself, but now do it in F. Alright, take a rhythm, a lick, or just a standard pattern. Connect your patterns. Be creative. Now E flat. Now, if you don't know your cycle of fourths yet, I'll tell you, there's C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B natural, E natural, A natural, D natural, G natural, C. So I'll demonstrate what I want. So triad, C, now triad F. Alright, so stay, hang in there with me. E flat. All 12 keys in the cycle. Now you can also do the cycle of fifths. So that was cycle of fourths. Etc. Now cycle of fifths is backwards. So boom, 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 boom. This one I like more. And then when you go backward, sounds like Harmon Nocturne. Great song. Exercise. It's all very tedious, This separates the boys, the men. Boys from men. Discipline. Just developing your discipline on the guitar. It's really hard at first. You want to expand your playing, you really gotta work hard. And then back. So you gotta do that for every scale. So minor. Now these are good for bass because you're gonna develop bass lines this way. You're gonna cumbia or salsa. It's roughly without what you can imagine. So. Reggae. Using triads, right? So it's just developing the comfort physically. So then when either you or the band leader throws out a feel, you're ready. You're just like, okay, he wants a funk minor triad thing. Right? Thundercat hires you, or Nora Jones or something. Professional. Think big. So play those triads. Play their feel. You want to develop that confidence around the technique to really establish your confidence musically. So then you go every key. Try to do kind of whatever you want. Be creative with it. It's music. Make it musical. automatically. There's another great book called Patterns for Jazz by Jerry Coker. And that book will enlighten you on different ways to play scales and chords and triads in all 12 keys. And it'll give you tempos for it. So study books. Don't ever discourage yourself from books. Read lots and practice your guitar. Apply it. Take notes. Apply it to your guitar, your bass playing, your saxophone, your piano, your singing, and get plenty of exercise. This is one thing you don't hear every musician say, but take care of your health. Health is number one. Sitting for long periods of time can be fun on the guitar, but if you don't manage your health, you'll catch up to one day. So, run, exercise, swim. I know it's hard right now with the lockdown, but do some push-ups, do some crunches, do some squats. I tell my students the same thing. Stretch, try to stretch. I'm guilty of not doing it today, so stretch. Get in 200 minutes of exercise a week, roughly. 300 minutes max if you can. Join a health club. But if we don't feel good physically, then the music's not going to express itself. So as you can see, I'm in the works of improving my health as well. So I'm walking my talk. But set goals. Get a notebook. Write out your music goals. What are your musical goals? How much do you want to learn this year? Do you want to read a book about music and apply that? Is that a goal of yours? Is it to start a business? Is it to join a band? Is it to play a new style? Is it learn a new song, record? Study records all day, every day. Really find your joy in the playing, and it'll kind of reward itself the more you get into it. So stick with it, don't quit, and listen to lots of jazz. And that's the best way you can inspire yourself to apply these concepts. So thanks.